Welcome guys, this is Campie and I play Sanctum. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to beat map 1-4, the gate. The starting side is on the west side, so I'm just going to build a line straight up. I built 2 blocks there in preparation for the second starting point, which is to the southeast. I jump onto this perch and then I shoot the Marines down, so this way they don't block my view. And then from up here I can take pot shots at the enemy safely. When you have the higher ground, it's a lot easier to shoot enemies with AoE weapons. Plus, if you have any perks where if you do more damage if you're higher above the enemy, or if you're further away from the enemy, then finding a perch high up is really invaluable for you. One of my favorite combinations for perks was to use the distance damage, explosion radius, and a juxtapose. But at least for Sweet, it has been nerfed greatly. Before it was much overpowered and beating all the maps was pretty simple. So I built a line and joined the second starting entrance with the first one. And the enemies from both starting points will end up going to the same ending point in my maze. I'm going to build an early mine tower. The mines will come in very handy against the Patriarch boss, which will appear in the last wave. If you build the mine tower early, then you only need one of them, and you can just collect them and stockpile and put it somewhere safe. So I'm just going to put them up here so that the looms don't walk onto them. And again, I take pot shots off of enemies from my perch. I also have a perk that will allow me to summon shield minions whenever I kill enemies. The shield minions are very valuable when you're fighting against enemies that you can aggro. The only bad thing about the shield minions is that if you were to kill looms that were close to your core or close to the end of your maze, they'll pretty much be stuck there, and if you kill enemies at the beginning of your maze, then you won't get any shield minions. In a way, I kind of wish that the shield minions would be able to move or sacrifice them, or they expire after a certain amount of lapse time. But if you're able to get them all at the kill zone or at the beginning of the maze, that would be optimal. I guess you can manually kill them by dropping blocks on them, but it's kind of annoying to do that. So now that the next wave of enemies will come from the north spawn point, I end up building my maze to accompany for them. And then I grab the mines and I drop them off here. You may want to target the warrior, since the warrior has the most health and is the most dangerous. The explosion perk works really well in this map, but in most maps it does as well. Lightning towers and mind control towers are pretty good against tough enemies as well, strong enemies. Those shield minions are good at tanking enemies while they group up, and I can just AoE them.
I can't build there.
If you can build a maze so that they come towards you before getting to the core, it's a lot easier to kill them. If you build a maze so that the enemies go away from you before they go to the core, it's harder to kill them. Sometimes when I build mazes, I build mostly lightning towers. I find that lightning towers are probably most versatile. In my opinion, they're kind of like the shotgun towers of Sanctum 2. They're good at killing armored looms, high HP looms, fast looms, weak looms. They can even kill hoverers and even soakers, but they may not be the best towers against them. I definitely prefer focus tower over lightning towers when killing soakers, but I find focus towers aren't that great against fast little creatures or jumpers that you encounter later on. So right now you can see the effectiveness of shield minions along with corpse explosion and my damage perk. It's mainly those two perks that are doing the most killing of enemies. And the lightning towers help me kind of soften the wave up before I kill them. So I continue building maze until it reaches the far end of the entrance. There's 3 little entrances that go to the core, and I want to limit the looms so they have to go up to only one, the far side. When it comes to lightning towers, I much rather build a ton of level 1 towers rather than one level 3. 3 level 1 towers is probably more effective at killing groups of enemies, especially if there's a lot of fast tiny enemies, because the lightning tower has a slow rate of fire. So if you have 3 lightning towers level 1, they can shoot 3 times more often than one level 3 tower. Although the level 3 tower can arc twice, so it can hit 3 enemies and each shot does more damage, but all in all, having 3 level 1s I find is better in my opinion. If you could, try to blow up the little guys so that they're right beside the big guy. And if you have corpse explosion, this works very well. So when the little guys explode, they'll do more damage to the big guys and the other little guys beside them. And you just recently saw a whole group of enemies blow up. That's a corpse explosion kind of chain reaction there. Even if there's a lot of enemies close to the end of the maze, don't fret, because one good chain corpse explosion can wipe out an entire mass. The weakness for corpse explosion is if all the enemies are spread out, then it won't really do much. If you have the rocket launcher, then secondary fire shooting in the air will do the most damage against these enemies from far away. But if you really want to kill them fast, you should jump down and shoot them in the butt. But if there's any other enemies down there, then they might attack you while you're shooting that enemy from behind, and that could be bad. As you notice, I don't really upgrade any lightning towers. Not until I max out on towers do I upgrade to lightning towers. I like to build lightning towers in the first and second row of my maze. And I build extra blocks here in case the Patriarch gets close to there. I don't want him to bust through the last wall in my maze, and then the enemies would just walk straight into the core area. I'm just going to focus on killing the Soaker first. The Soaker can cause a lot of headaches when all their towers are kind of wasting their shots on it. But at the same time, if there's enemies close to the end of my maze, I'm going to target them. And when fast enemies come out, target those first priority. And then switch back to the Soaker. And if there's anything past the Soaker, then focus on them. The good thing about Sweet is that she has fire damage, and fire damage is really good against Soakers. When I'm using Sweet, I find that using Battle Rifle and Rocket Launcher is the best combination if I want to do AoE. So now you can see how we have a big stash of mines. Whenever you have to kill Patriarchs, the ones that can't kite around, then stockpiling mines is the easiest way to beat them, although it's not 100% foolproof. If you kill a Soaker and you have corpse explosion, any enemy will blow up. Some people say that you should time the explosion of a Soaker when there's a bunch of enemies beside it. The landing towers do decent damage to the heavies. But when playing on 5 Feats, you may have to help out the towers. Since this is the last wave, I'm gonna grab all of the landmines. Now I'm gonna put them on the first 2 blocks that is closest to the Patriarch. I'm gonna put about 5 on each block. You definitely don't want to put all of the mines on one block because sometimes the Patriarch will just skip one block. And sometimes I put some on a 3rd one just in case. And I'm just going to put some on this aisle because the Patriarch and some enemies, they like to come through this aisle. So that should be more than enough mines to kill a Patriarch, unless he totally avoids the first 3 set of mines. Then I built some lighting towers closer to the end of the maze, because I know the Patriarch boss will create a hole in my maze. So the boss will come from the west side, and as soon as he comes out, you want to target him. Well, you don't have to target him because the mines will kill it, but just in case the mines don't finish him off, your weapon should be able to damage him quite a bit. So he took 1.5 mine piles, and then the third one, and he got blown up. That's by far the easiest way to kill the Patriarch, but it's kind of tricky finding the best place to put it. And you just have to make sure the enemies, they don't make it through to the core. There's like a huge gap in my maze, a shortcut. But luckily there's not too much enemies, so it's nothing I have to worry about now. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this guide helpful. And I'll see you in the next clip.